The reason I wanted to make this video is because I recently came across a hilariously insane article titled "The Dangerous Rise of Men Who Won't Date Woke Women."
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever the channel may be finding you. Rayce Bannon here, breaking down Brittany Sellner's very comical and lighthearted look at the blatant hypocrisy of the woke crowd when it comes to what men are allowed to say and what men are not allowed to say without being put on a cross, nailed to it, and crucified. What she does is she practices diversity of ideas, diversity of thought, which is not allowed in today's toxic cancer culture. And she starts with the article by professional woke woman Vicky Spratt. You know, come to think of it, maybe Malcolm X was correct decades ago when he spoke about the people with a woke mindset. As always, remember to subscribe to the channel, knock the notification bell, leave me a comment or two down below, and let's get right into Brittany's video.
The reason I wanted to make this video is because I recently came across a hilariously insane article titled "The Dangerous Rise of Men Who Won't Date Woke Women." Most of you are already aware of the English actor and musician Laurence, who recently obliterated a feminist on BBC's Question Time when she accused him of having white privilege. Anyhow, Laurence happened to mention that he doesn't date woke women, and that he had even broken up with a girl who had supported that one crazy 2019 Gillette advertisement that talked about the dangers of toxic masculinity. "I don't know how we ended up together," Laurence said. "It was a very short relationship. We were walking down the road and she was talking about how good the Gillette advert was. I just looked at her and went, 'Bye. Sorry, I can't do this with you.'" And now, predictably, the media is having a complete meltdown. There's nothing funny about the things Fox, or Wokey McWokeface, as he now wants to be known, is saying. It's also not particularly sad. It's dangerous. He is just one very privileged man, and as a result of said privilege, has been given a platform. And he has used that platform to legitimize a bigger backlash against diversity and progress which is unfolding every single day in less public corners of the internet. Not wanting to date, quote, woke women, far from being laughable, is actually one of the more insidious aspects of it. Spend an afternoon on any major dating app and you'll come across generally white men saying openly sexist and misogynistic things. They might say, "no psychos," or that they effing hate big eyebrows in their bios. And by and large, they also tend to hold extremely right-wing views and see themselves as victims of liberal thinking.
You have got to be kidding me. Ladies, you must leave a comment down below. Is this the current mindset of the women in Western cultures? That if a man has a standard, even the smallest standard, of not wanting to date a psychopathic killer, a criminal, a psycho lunatic, he's now labeled sexist and misogynistic? Is he then going to be denied a job, denied housing, can't get into an apartment? Is this the path we are on? If it is, ladies, do you wonder why men do not want to date anymore? You have to leave me a comment down below.
Okay, but what exactly is wrong with not wanting to date a psycho? There legitimately are crazy people out there, obsessive people, stalkerish people, entitled people who are extremely selfish and bratty and just an overall nightmare to be around. Not to mention, if we're being honest, there are plenty of women who brush men off for the exact same reason. As for the eyebrows, I don't really know what to say aside from everybody has a type. I mean, sure, the guy could have said it in a more charitable way, I suppose, but at the end of the day, you can't really control what you're attracted to, what you're not attracted to. Some people really might just be totally put off by bushy eyebrows. Also, the claim that these type of men exclusively, or at least in general, tend to hold extreme right-wing views is utter nonsense. There are plenty of male leftist and feminist supporting types who have been accused of far worse. Harvey Weinstein, for example. It's gotten so bad that there's even a stereotype now about male feminists being creepy. Left-wing men definitely don't have some kind of monopoly on being kind and moral. Lastly, if I remember correctly, wasn't it the left who started this whole game of not wanting to date people with opposing political views? I won't date people with right-wing views. Conservatives are whining because no one wants to date them. Why I dumped my conservative boyfriend.
Even Stevie Wonder can see the hypocrisy. It's so blatant. So ladies, leave me a comment down below. Why the hypocrisy? Why the double standard? Personally, date whomever you want, long as all parties want to date each other. But why are women allowed to have standards without being shamed? Why can women say, I only date men who have six figures. I only date men who are 6 foot tall. I only date men who can take me 5-star dining, take me on nice vacations. I only date men who are bald. I only date men who have a full head of hair. I only date men with a beard. He can have a beard, etc., etc. And that's no problem. But why is it when a man says, I only date voluptuous women in their 20s who have 0 kids and have 0 student debt? Somehow the man is now sexist and misogynistic. Why can't the man have a standard without being shamed, without being character assassinated? Leave me a comment down below. And I'm telling you, people in this country are being fed up with the double standards. Here's how much I believe people are fed up with the hypocrisy and the double standard. All last summer, we saw burning in the streets, businesses being burnt, looted, people being killed. And the media told us those were protesters. The other day, we have a one-day march in the District of Columbia, and they march into the Capitol building. The same media labeled these people thugs, rioters, terrorists, and insurrectionists. A one day versus all summer long. And unfortunately, if this double standard and hypocrisy does not stop, I unfortunately believe we are going to see more of what happened in the District of Columbia all throughout America. And I hope and pray I'm wrong.
Sorry to the left, I guess, but this is the bed that you guys made, and you kind of now have to sleep in it. Nobody really feels sorry for you. You can't spend all these years saying, I'll never date right-wing men. Right-wing men are racist, misogynistic, sexist, not even just right-wing men, but anti-PC men. And then as soon as those very same men turn around and say, you know, actually, we're not so interested in dating you either. Then you put on the victim hats and it's like, oh my gosh, the outrage, the scandal, the horror. And to be fair, I really don't exactly blame these types of men for not wanting to date woke women, especially if they're anything even remotely similar to this woman here. Who needs YouTube rabbit holes when you have the BBC broadcasting literal white supremacist propaganda? The woman who wrote this tweet, I'm not going to name her because I know that if I do, she'll probably accuse me of bullying or something like that. But anyways, she wrote this tweet in response to a tweet from BBC that read, "We'll introduce you to a trad wife, a young woman who has chosen to be a traditional wife, staying at home to take care of the household chores while her husband works, and she is fine with submitting to her husband as he makes the key decisions in their lives." So basically, this woman is claiming that to want to be a traditional wife it's the same thing as wanting to promote white supremacist propaganda. For those in my comments who don't seem to know, so-called trad wives are white supremacist women who devote themselves to domestic duties in the service of perpetuating the white race. It is a dog whistle meant to sound less white supremacist than it is. I'm not trying to be mean or anything, but this genuinely has to be one of the stupidest tweets I've ever seen in my entire life. Wanting to be a traditional wife has nothing to do, absolutely nothing to do with wanting to perpetuate the white race. It has to do with simply preferring traditional gender roles. And that's something that people, sorry to say, but of every race do. I can just imagine being a man and being married to a woman like this. And you know, you come home after a long day at work, it's been like a 9-hour shift, you were out doing manual labor, you know, pushing papers in a stuffy office all day, and you're really hungry and you say, honey, you know, would you mind just making me a meal, cooking some dinner, just this once? And she whirls on you in this absolute like tornado of rage, like, you're literally broadcasting white supremacists in our home. Think of the children. Actually, Now that I think about it, this type of woman probably wouldn't have any children. But anyway, let people date who they want to date. What an absolutely horrific world it would be to have to date someone not because you're in any way attracted to them or because you admire their character, but because they're higher up on the victim scale than you and therefore somehow entitled to your affection.
Are you serious? You gotta be kidding me. And women in America wonder why men don't want to date anymore. This is where I believe it's going to come back to haunt the woketivist, liberal, progressive. They're the ones behind this. And this is where I believe it's going to come back to haunt them. This means moving forward, any woman who declines going to bed or dating a gay male, she is now homophobic. Any woman who does not want a gay male's member of anatomy up her rear end is now homophobic. Any woman out there who does not want to date a trans person is now transphobic. If we're following the logic and we're consistent and there's no double standards, correct? And let's take it one more step further. A gay female, a lesbian, approaches a straight woman, and the straight woman declines the offer to date the lesbian. Isn't the straight female now homophobic, anti-lesbian? Doesn't she need to make a national apology, maybe be fired from her job for being homophobic? Where does it end?
Enough with the constant date shaming. For once, maybe try taking just a tiny fraction of the time that you spend judging other people and turn it inward and use it to judge yourself.
Special shout out to Brittany. You called out the liberal, progressive woketivists for being the blatant hypocrites that they are. You are fan-friggin-tastic, Brittany. All right, guys, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, knock the notification bell, leave me a comment, and until next time, I'm Rayce Bannon, and I'm out.